October has rolled around once more, and that can only mean one thing. It's time to break out some spooky video games. I realized something though. I haven't covered any Flash games this year, so it's time to conjure up a Flash survival horror classic. The Last Stand, a survival horror-based defense game developed by Con Artist Games. Dropped onto the Newgrounds Flash portal on April 26th of 2007, The Last Stand managed to hit the front page, took home the daily feature game, and took the weekly User's Choice Award too. Apparently this was also the first Flash game that Con Artist Entertainment ever made. What a way to start your career then, with a literal all-timer. The Last Stand casts you as a survivor caught isolated in a country that's been overrun with the living dead. In a bid to stay alive, our hero, later identified in the third game as Jack, hastily constructs a wall to keep the dead out and keep himself alive. But they're coming. Every night they come. A near unyielding tide of hunger, hell-bent on tearing your fortress down and tearing you to pieces. Night falls for the first time in this hell. Jack grabs his heater and heads out to the wall to defend his new makeshift home from the coming horde. As stated, The Last Stand is a defense-based shooter. Here's you, here's the wall protecting you, and here comes the shambling dead. So, do as the game advised you. Aim and shoot. Kill. So you do that. Aim with your mouse, move around with wads, and click left click to shoot. Optionally, have a good mouse because you're going to be clicking a lot in this game, especially at the start when all you have is this rinky-dink Glock to defend your wall with. In fact, here's what it sounds like. Yeah, a crappy $5 mouse isn't going to cut it here.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
The second a night starts, you want to start blasting, aiming for the head where possible, but just never stop shooting. Ammo is unlimited, so just start shooting and don't let up till they stop coming for the night. You want to kill these bastards as fast as you possibly can, because if they get to your wall, they will start tearing down your shelter, and if the wall falls, well, it's a given you will too. Whew. That's the first night survived. Just 19 more days to go. At the dawn of a new day, you'll have the other side of The Last Stand's gameplay. Scavenging and repairs. You have 12 hours to divvy up between repairing your wall, searching for weapons, and searching for survivors too. I guess I died on that one. Well, that's inconvenient. These are all pretty self-explanatory. Keep your walls up by repairing them. Search for weapons to up your arsenal, and find survivors, which 1. Will add a gun to your wall for a little extra security at night, and 2. Will boost how much you can repair your wall by hour. I want to say they boost your weapon and survivor search rate too, but I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, you're not gonna find or do much on your own. I won't lie, these first few nights are gonna be rough. Yeah, that first night was easy, but this game never stops ramping up. I get fucking mauled on night 2, mainly because I failed to find anything or anyone to help me. So it was once again just me and my Glock versus 100 or so Zeds. Thankfully, I did manage to survive, and on my second day of searching, it was far more fruitful, finding a Magnum and 2 whole survivors. This guy looks like a pretty rugged survivor type, but I don't know about this fellow. Either way, it's another pair of hands to help. And yeah, you do some variation of that for 20 days and nights. So, since I mentioned picking up the Magnum, let's talk about your arsenal. The most important thing in any zombie game. While you'll have to search for them, The Last Stand features a very strong arsenal of 11 different weapons, 2 of which you're allowed to equip at any given time. Ranging from machine guns, shotguns, assault rifles, and a nice little hunting rifle too. I'm happy to say each of these weapons are very usable, and realistically, you can win the game with any combination of 2. If you're struggling though, just wait till you get the chainsaw, then it's game over. The chainsaw has 0 flaws other than its short range. It hits multiple targets, shreds the Zeds very quickly, and it essentially has 0 reload time. If you can't win the game with the chainsaw, the video games just aren't for you. Outside the chainsaw, all the automatics are pretty good. This is a defense game after all. The hunting rifle really brings the pain as well, and while it's not the best weapon in the game, I do love that Jack Power Stance fires the sawed-off shotgun. It's like he's Chris Redfield using the Hydra in Resident Evil 5. This dude is strong, possibly superhuman. I'm leaning more towards superhuman considering that Jack can very easily use the final weapon in the game, a Barrett 50 caliber, which he can heft and fire standing with 0 issues. Oh yeah, the 50 cal, your 11th hour superpower. It's the last gun you find in the game, and hell, maybe you don't even find it at all, since the game will most likely be over by the time you locate it and use it. Man, this must be what it feels like to wield Mjolnir. You just annihilate entire rows of zombies, and it's awesome. This one's described as an anti-material rifle. Yeah, it's not anti-tank. This rifle is anti-thing. You'll need this arsenal to combat the living dead, too. Now, while these zombies do abide by Romero rules, the Last Stand tries to spice things up a bit with its zombie types. Yeah, there's the normal shamblers, but some just fucking sprint at your barricade. There's also the fatties, too. This is America, after all, I'm pretty sure. These ones take a lot more punishment than your average zombie. As the protagonist remarks in his diary, tired. Can't write. Taking down fat zombie guys all day. Later on, SWAT zombies show up, clad in bulletproof vests, which make their torsos immune to gunfire completely somehow. So you have to hit them in the head or legs to take them down. Further complicating things much later on are the soldier Zeds who have vests and a helmet, which makes their legs the only vulnerable target. And there's dogs. Honestly, fuck zombie dogs. Probably my least favorite type of undead enemy in any horror game. To talk flavor for just a second, a lot of Jack's diary entries make mention of certain special zombies he encounters on the previous night, like when a gang of prisoner zombies arrives on day 10. Also, I must remark that a solitary clown zombie shows up at one point during this game. This is the only one that has shown up in the entirety of the Last Stand series, and I just find that humorous. As for your fellow survivors, though, you can have up to 6 in your compound at a given time. They man the walls at night, though I won't lie, they aren't particularly useful there. Even when at max capacity, and with 2 of the survivors having actual weapons and a magnum and a hunting rifle, they won't be doing much of the killing. They're more useful in a utility sense, since the more survivors you have, the less time you have to spend repairing your barricades. You can focus more on finding guns or more survivors if you're not full up. The only bullshit here is that survivors can randomly die when out on these searches, which I hate, admittedly, since I don't like when things are left up to random chance. XCOM scarred me worse than my uncle did. When the end game rolled around for my playthrough, I was fully loaded on guns and had 6 boys to back me up at night. I can't lie, this is honestly the smoothest playthrough of The Last Stand I've ever done, and I've probably played this game like, I don't know, 100 times in my life. It was nice, I can't lie. On the night of the 20th day, Jack writes about how hopeless this situation has become. Thankfully, though, the army heard our ruckus and plops a chopper down to rescue all of us. It's finally over. We're safe. Or are we? Oh yeah, The Last Stand 2. Coming out just a scant year after the first on May 12th of 2008. This one also managed to take home all the accolades the first did too. Is it odd to have multiple Last Stands? No more odd than multiple Final Fights, or double-digit Final Fantasies, I guess. The Last Stand 2 takes place directly after the first one. After the military picks Jack up and his fellow survivors, he's infected. Turns out one of your fellows was carrying the virus and turned mid-flight, ruining everything. Alright, which one of you fuckers was it? I'm looking in your direction, orange shirt, mainly because of the blood on your face. Or was it your brother, blue shirt? I guess it doesn't matter very much, because everyone on the chopper except for Jack dies on impact. Less than a month since the events of the first game, and we're back at square one. Our hero ends up in Glendale, a city in the state. A radio broadcast lets Jack know that the last ships and choppers are leaving Union City in 40 days, and after that, the mainland will be sealed off forever. So you gotta get your ass to Union City. Not exactly an easy proposition, considering we just survived a helicopter crash and we're starting with nothing more than our trusty Glock once again. So Jack takes up residence in a local hardware store, constructing a wall, and begins the fight for survival once more. At a base level, The Last Stand 2 functions identically to the first. Point and shoot. Kill. Everything else, though, has been tweaked a lot, if not outright changed completely. You no longer have one locale that you'll be at for the entirety of the game, since you have to city hop till you reach Union City. While you still have the 12-hour search time during the morning, instead of just investing your time into 3 random bars, you now select what buildings in a given location to search. Each building takes a certain amount of time to look through, and each building has a chance for you to find survivors, supplies so you can leave your current location, or weapons to use at night. Some buildings are even marked with a little gun to indicate that a firearm might be there, which I won't lie, I think is complete horseshit. I always went for the buildings marked gun first, but not once did I ever find a firearm in that day. Every location generally has 2 weapons to find, at least 1 survivor, and enough supplies to get the hell out of Dodge. Your barriers in each location also progressively get weaker. Hell, your first one only starts at 80 hit points, and it only gets lower as you go forward, which really helps to enhance the difficulty for this one over the first game. I was feeling that the first one went a little too breezy after all. I need to be stressed out of in my mind to play games efficiently. Thankfully though, your arsenal is just as strong as it was in the first game. Almost every weapon from the first one returns. Magnum, shotguns, machine guns, assault rifle, and the hunting rifle makes their triumphant return to The Last Stand 2. Tragically though, we've lost the 50 cal. Even more tragically, now the chainsaw is here too, it's gotten nerfed pretty hard. Half the gas tank and a much longer reload time. It's still good for reference, but not as good as it used to be. You also won't be picking up every weapon in a single playthrough, since right at the start, your first move will be to choose between two cities to head to. The smaller, less populated Whistler's Grove, or the bigger, more populated Claysburg. Now, Claysburg will fetch you the UMP-45 and the Uzi, while Whistler's Grove gets you a shotgun and the compound bow, which is actually a new weapon for the series. It's pretty good, can't lie. Honestly, I think it's weird how the bow doesn't get much representation in the zombie survival genre. Quiet, can kill with a precise shot, and the ammo's pretty much renewable. I can only think of like 4 titles in this whole genre that use a bow, and there really should be more. Anyway, let's talk survivors now. In 2, survivors occupy much the same space as 1, but they're a bit more upgraded and nerfed too. While you can only have 4 survivors on your walls now, the trade-off is that you can equip them with most of your spare weapons. So you can hand out your spare machine guns and put down some strong enfilading fire upon your enemies. You'll also only get a plus to your repair time per 2 survivors as opposed to a boost for each, but since your barriers are weaker and thus quicker to repair, that's not really a big deal at all. Really, they're better than they used to be for sure, even with the trade-offs. But you may ask now, what about your opposition, the zombies? Have they changed much? A tiny bit. All the hits from the original are back. Shamblers, fatties, SWAT and military's adds too. All of them are here now, but with the additional fact that they can show up at any time during the game instead of just during the later periods. What makes them far more deadly, however, is that many of them are now carrying various melee weapons. Not only will these weapons tear down your barrier much quicker, but even worse.
Fatality.
Yeah, they can just outright kill your survivors during a nightly defense, which adds a whole new layer of threat and anxiety to the game. Reload at the wrong moment, and a sprinter could get through and cave in the head of one of your survivors. Damn it, I needed that guy. As for wholly new mechanics, you can now find and place traps before every nightly assault, including a bear trap, a landmine, and a shootable propane tank. They're all pretty decent, but I just recommend saving them for the final city. That's when you'll really be needing them. Before Jonestown, though, you head to a teeny farming community called Aspenwood, which is where you can grab the hunting rifle and the sawed-off shotgun. The hunting rifle is your winner weapon for this game. Get this and you'll be able to finish the game pretty easily. After Aspenwood, you'll hop to the final and biggest city in the game, which is Jonestown, where your barrier barely has 50 health and the dead are at their thickest. You can find the assault rifles here, both the M4 and the AK-47, as well as some hand grenades, which I don't like very much. They take up a whole slot weapon-wise, and you have to pitch the things versus just shooting, which, can't lie, it's kinda awkward. I need bullet volume here, grenades. Sorry. In Jonestown, after you gather enough supplies, you can make the final short hop to Union City. Although, right there is a little location called Fort Tran. Well, we can't just leave a military base unexplored, can we? As a fun fact, Fort Tran used to be premium content that was only available on ArmorGames.com back in the day. So you had to play The Last Stand 2 there to access it, but man was it worth it. Because when you make the pilgrimage to Fort Tran, you access the double-decker 11th hour superpower. A quick search of this abandoned fort finds you both the M-Saw and a fucking RPG. Take this M-Saw, old man. I got the bazooka to clear out these undead freaks. Though even with a detour, I did still manage to make it to Union City in time too, and win the game. In the good ending, you'll safely make it to Union City, ready to be evacuated by whatever authorities are there. There's also a bad ending where you don't make it in time, and the state is firebombed, killing everybody there, including you, of course. And yeah, that's it for the first 2 Last Stand games. These were really some of the best Flash games ever made. Probably the best survival horror Flash game, for sure. It just works so extremely well. It's fun, it presents a decent challenge, and they're just good games in general. These games were so good, though, there were actually 3 more titles, meaning that there's a total of 5 Last Stands. The next of these games that I'll actually be covering as well. Well, this is where the video ends, my friends. As always, dearest viewers, my name is HadesManticore, and this here channel is CityStateManticore. I thank you a ton for watching. If you did, feel free to leave a like and a comment, and of course be sure to subscribe, because there's always more content to come. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.